I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.
And I'm Adam Cleary. Coming up for you today, news about an unhappy locker room in WWE.
I'm going to tell you all about Wednesday night's ratings, who won the war.
Some serious news for Bret Hart, but not quite as serious as you think.
I'm going to tell you a possible reason why Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble.
And Hulk Hogan is doing a Saudi show in a story specifically designed to annoy me.
Quelle surprise. This is the news. Let's kick things off with the big story. If you've been paying any attention to wrestling media or social media over the past 12 hours, you may have heard about this already. There's been a major corporate reshuffle in WWE. They issued a release last night on their corporate website, and I'm just going to read it because it explains it nicely. WWE today announced that co-presidents George Barrios and Michelle Wilson will depart the company effective immediately and will no longer serve on its board of directors. Here's a quote from Vince McMahon as part of that release. I would like to thank George and Michelle for their 10 plus years of service and contributions to the organization. I am grateful for all that was accomplished during their tenure, but the board and I decided a change was necessary as we have different views on how to best achieve our strategic priorities moving forward. So Barrios, of course, had served as the Chief Financial Officer for WWE since 2008. Wilson was the Chief Revenue Officer since 2009. This is big. So these people within WWE, they are considered two of WWE's big five executives. The other three are Vince McMahon, obviously, Kevin Dunn, and Paul Levesque, Triple H. Barrios has been particularly important with the expansion into new media and social media, which is one of WWE's biggest business strengths over the past few years. Both were instrumental in forming and forging the company's current corporate identity, and there's all sorts of stuff to break down here. I have got a full page of notes on this alone, because it's crazy, so I'm sorry, Adam Clear, I'm just going to wrap it.
Before you jump in, I'm going to say, were you not disappointed they didn't get Future Endeavoured in that little write-up?
That would have been a nice
I was sat there waiting for it, like, oh, which the what? No,
get the usual 2-sentence departure. Nah, they got a full few paragraphs. They were treated well. So there was all kinds of stuff. As soon as this broke, WWE stock started free falling. Dave Meltzer pointed out that it was by over $9 in a couple of minutes. At one point, it was down as much as 20%. Obviously, investors getting a little bit twitchy that two of the big executives in WWE were just suddenly out. And the verbiage of this whole thing, you know, things like effective immediately and we disagreed on how to achieve strategic priorities, that suggests that they didn't resign. It suggests that they were binned off, that they were fired. Now, CM Punk, scamp of a man, right? Of course.
I enjoyed this.
As soon as this broke, he quote-tweeted the wonderful WrestleNomics saying, hey, how do I interview for these positions? Nice little touch there. But there's all kinds of stuff to read into here. Next week, Thursday, I believe, is when WWE's financials for 2019 come out. And as Barrios and Wilson were at the forefront of this stuff, you kind of look at that, and this is speculation, we should point out. You look at that and go, well, that's coming out next week, and a lot of people have been reporting that the numbers may not be as high as WWE wants. So, there's a lot of other stuff to unpack here as well. So WWE's anticipated OIBDA, which is the figure they use to measure profit, it was once forecast for 2019 at $200 million. That has since gone down to 190 roughly, and that has now gone down even further to about 180. So they're still going to have a record-breaking profit year because they have those crazy TV deals, but declining to 20 million roughly in expectations isn't great. There's also been rumblings that the little things like the UK TV deal going from Sky to BT Sport internally has been seen as a lateral step, a sidestep, or even a step backwards within the company. And also, on this set of financial reports next week, we are going to learn exactly how much NXT is making from USA Network. And there are rumblings online from a number of reputable sources that that figure will be $0, which obviously isn't great. So obviously this is speculation, right? So those things I've described, but you know, it's kind of coincidental, right?
Sorry, do you mean to tell me, just going to cut through all of this, Andy Murray, do you mean to tell me that the two people who managed to successfully sell WWE during a creative dearth, the lowest creative dearth it's ever been in, who managed to sell that product for the biggest ever wrestling TV deals of all time have got the elbow because the BT Sport promos with Robbie Savage and The New Day were seen as a bad move.
I am absolutely not telling you that.
That is, I can't believe that's the headline from all this. Because just $0.
Well, this is the rumblings about the NXT TV deal. It might have been similar to the AEW, the previous AEW deal before their new one kicked in, where they weren't getting paid any rights fees and just had like an ad share and stuff. So it'll be really interesting to figure out if that is the case. But this is like genuinely huge. I mean, Vince McMahon is not just going to shove out a couple of his most trusted executives who've been there for over 10 years each without good reason. And, you know, we've Dave Meltzer on Twitter suggested that they were being made scapegoats for what WWE expect to be disappointing financial reports next week. And we've seen all kinds of disappointing metrics on those reports, despite the amazing TV deals. Live event attendance is down, live event revenues down, merch sales down, network subscribers down, all kinds of worrying bits and pieces. So the next few weeks, like if you're interested in the business side of pro wrestling and WWE and how they do and how they have this mountain of money, but yet they're never quite as profitable as they should be, it's going to be very interesting.
It's one of these actual news stories that rarely crosses over into the sphere of wrestling. It's one of the biggest companies in America, one of the most high-profile, visible companies in America that, as was once said by someone other than me, millionaires who should be billionaires, although they're now billionaires who probably should be trillionaires. It's a really interesting time for all of this because, like, it did sound like I was doing a joke before, but these two managed to successfully turn WWE from being like, as all these metrics are down, interest in the company is down, it is losing its viewing audience in droves, and yet somehow managed to make this the most attractive proposition for one of the biggest sporting networks on the planet. These two have turned water, not even water, piss into wine, genuinely over the last few years, and they've been booted out for, I mean, what looks like bad financial reports, but certainly not catastrophic.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be a record-breaking revenue year, right? A profit year, sorry. So, you know, there's good and bad to these impending financial reports, but at the same time, you know, we may never know. We may never find out officially what the reasons for these people getting the boot was, but obviously, you can look at these things, you can draw conclusions, and you can discuss and speculate on them. That's part of the fun. But I basically just advise people to stay locked to this, because this is big. This is WWE's future.
Personally, can't wait for both of them to turn up in AEW using their old indie names. Anyway, it's not all good news for WWE, or indeed any of it's good news, because we reported earlier this week that there was going to be a reduction to the live event schedule for February and March, which we heard and we thought, hey, do you know what? Wrestlers getting to spend more time with their family, letting their bodies recover. This is good news, right? Apparently the news has been received in the locker room quite poorly because while, yes, it will afford them more opportunities to see their families, who they presumably hate, and their bodies, which they also presumably hate, this is also going to be a huge reduction on their earnings because WWE stars are apparently, according to these reports in the Wrestling Observer, paid partially by the amount of shows they work. The guys at the top of the card, obviously, they have a nice flat fee, but apparently some of the other people on the roster, they are dependent upon appearances. And of course, Andy Murray, less appearances will equal less money.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like that should have been an obvious one. Apparently, this goes deeper as well, because apparently a lot of the roster weren't even informed about this until they were handed their sheets for February and were like, wait, where's... What?
I got 5 dates.
I feed my kids off this job.
Poor Heath Slater, man.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one here because, like, the main roster is going to be running less house shows at various points than NXT in those little venues all around Florida and stuff. But NXT talents, I believe, are on different deals where they're just paid the same regardless. Again, pluses and minuses. All these positives that me and Adam Nicholas discussed yesterday will be easier on their bodies. They'll have more time to recover and so forth. But man, that could hit a few wallets pretty hard and. Oh, but you just can't win.
There's also a development issue. Like WWE use a lot of their house shows to try out new things. Quite often we'll have a story like, oh, new ring gear spotted house show, new finisher spotted house show, someone debuting on a house show. It does afford them the opportunity to trial and find out whether or not things work away from the glaring eyes of the camera or the canon of television episodes. That opportunity is now severely reduced as well. People will get less ring time. They'll get less chance to experiment. There are the positives, and we should be looking at it like, you know, more recovery time is going to be good for a roster that is worked over and above what should be considered normal. But if the bottom line for them is the financials, then this is going to hit them hard.
It is indeed, and it's almost like WWE should just raise their base rates to compensate for this and, be nice.
Well, I hear they've just freed up some money on the old wage bill, so...
Yeah, there you go. There you go, a couple of million a year, baby. Let's move on to the ratings. Wednesday Night Wars, all that stuff. They came in last night, Showbuzz Daily, posting the news. So it's a fifth consecutive victory for AEW, but both shows were down by similar margins. AEW fell from 871k last week to 828,000 an average across the 2 hours this week. NXT was down to 712,000 viewers from 769. Nice, the previous week. As far as the key 18 to 49 demographic goes, and that's what really counts in all of this, AEW had a rating of 0.34, NXT 0.22.
Oh.
Standard story here, AEW won every demographic apart from the over 50s. NXT soared to victory there.
There's Hamlet
once again,
for you.
There's Hamlet, tune it in on 7 different TVs. This is AEW's 5th consecutive win in the ratings war this year, but it is their lowest number of 2020 so far. Not a whole lot to dig into here. I think that the marketing for both shows this week wasn't great. I don't think either brand did a majorly good job of building up what was going to go down on these shows, maybe aside from the advertising for the Dusty Classic and learning potential opponents for TakeOver. But AEW has the momentum at the moment. They're winning every week at the moment, so that has assumedly coasted them to victory.
I'm a big believer that ratings patter is just ratings patter and not really all that good, but given that we've got Revolution coming up for AEW and TakeOver Portland coming up for NXT, it's going to be interesting to see how this fluctuates, because I'm sure NXT would hope and expect to camp up a very big rating with a go-home show for that, and hopefully the show coming out of it. So with that being in the midst of AEW's build to their pay-per-view, it's going to be an interesting few weeks, or in so much as ratings patter can get interesting. Now, just let me finish reading this story out, because I'm going to get past the first sentence and you're going to go, oh no, this is terrible. Bret Hart has cancer, but it's a very treatable, very small skin cancer that he's going to have a little bit of surgery on and will be absolutely fine. However, do you understand the headline, Bret Hart has cancer, while being accurate, is quite, what's the word I'm looking for here? Emotive, and more emotive than it needs to be. He published on his social media, goal for 2020 and beyond, wear more sunscreen. Basal cell carcinoma, I think that's how you say that. Removal scheduled soon. Another opportunity to remind everyone to look after your health and hashtag get checked. He's got a very, very, very small growth of cancerous cells in his shoulder, which will be the matter of minutes by a skilled surgeon to remove. He will be absolutely fine, but regardless, we wish him all the best with it. And if you live in a country with a lot of sun exposure, please do wear your sunscreen. It catches up with you eventually.
Yeah, in the words of Baz Luhrmann, wear sunscreen.
Yeah. Everybody's free.
Yeah, I like everyone else on the internet, when I saw this headline, was immediately panicking. But it's good that he caught it early. It's good that he's seemingly going to be fine, because Bret deserves a break, I think. He's had a rough couple of years. He was obviously jumped at the Hall of Fame ceremony this year. That was terrible by that idiot.
That wasn't even a year ago, that.
Yeah, I know. What was it, 8 months?
Where's my life gone?
It's just ridiculous. We saw him at WrestleMania the night after. He was fine and all that. But poor Bret. Hope he's fine. Hope he gets well soon. Love the hit.
You're a big exponent of this, because I've been in a warm country with you and you slather that stuff on.
Mate, you gotta do it, man. I'm from the frozen wastes of northeast Scotland. If I don't put factor 900 sunscreen on when it's as much as 12 degrees outside, I come back looking like a bit of beef jerky. So look after yourself, man.
True story. True story. I once walked through the Pyrenees in France, the mountains. It was overcast, it was rainy, it was black all day, and it rained, and I got cloud burn.
Wow.
That's a thing that exists and a thing that I got. So there you go. Look after your skin.
Look after yourself and get well soon, Mr. Hitman. Little nugget of information here from Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, talking about Charlotte Flair, talking about winning the Royal Rumble. And he believes that a potential reason for Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble was because WWE felt they had a debt to pay to the Queen. Apparently this was a consequence of promises that had been made over the past few years and potentially maybe not fulfilled, not lived up to, and so forth. And they thought, hey, Charlotte is one of our most valued female wrestlers. We've let her down here with a couple of unnamed things. Let's make it up to her. Let's give her the Rumble. Now, I think this is quite an interesting story, particularly because a lot of people would argue that Charlotte is overpushed, and she is the most successful, by the numbers, woman in women's wrestling in WWE. She's got 10 world title reigns. She's constantly put into spotlights and so forth. However, when you talk about the idea of Charlotte being over-pushed, whether you believe that or not, you've got to temper that a little bit, because the majority of her title reigns, especially in recent years, have been like a couple of weeks. They've been minute, they've been tiny. And also on top of this, I believe in 2019 she had like a really poor win-loss record in WWE. She lost a lot of big matches, went long periods without winning anything. So there's both sides of the argument, I think, have merit, but it's kind of interesting that WWE felt they needed to pay a debt to someone who is literally always in the spotlight.
I will say my one thought on this is that you can have whatever opinion you want on whether or not Charlotte deserves all of this. I personally think she's got a great chance of going down as the greatest WWE women's wrestler of all time if she continues going the way she's going. But I will say it's an interesting precedent to set, that if they feel they owe somebody a debt for just effectively, doing their job and a few promises not getting met along the way, there's going to be a lot of knocks on that door in Stamford going, well, hang on, if we're all supposed to be getting we're due here, what about me? What about this? What about that? There's going to be a lot of people in the locker room you'd expect be like, oh, so we can bring this stuff up, can we? More power to Charlotte, and this is the thing, I don't think they had a lot of viable Rumble winners this year. Baszler looked like a great shout. If they were bringing Rousey back, she would have been a great shout. But beyond that, it's not been a great year for the main roster in as far as the women's division goes. Becky's obviously been on a tear. Asuka and Kairi Sane have done great work as the Kabuki Warriors, but looking for a genuine single star to get on the road to WrestleMania and chance for a title, there's not a lot of outstanding names there.
No, exactly. Let's roll it along.
Yeah, so speaking of not a lot of outstanding names, one place that won't be a problem will be in the desert of Saudi Arabia when WWE returns there for yet another perfectly fine, legitimate show that's not in any way designed to distract you from anything else. And they'll be back soon, Andy Murray.
They will.
Crown Jewel rolls around yet again, and according to reports in, you guessed it, the Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer speculates that Hulk Hogan is going to be on that show. Won't that be fun? No word yet as to what he might actually be doing, but he will be brought back onto television in the coming weeks to set up some kind of angle, possibly as a manager, possibly as a booker, possibly as, I don't know, a special guest referee, a commentator, a host, who knows, but Hogan's coming back again. My two favourite things in wrestling, the return of Hulk Hogan and Vision 2030.
Yeah. Let's not talk about Terry Bollea.
Let's not.
Let's roll on to your Twitter questions. We've got two of them today. The first one comes from Joel Henderson, who asks, should WWE bring back certain designs of the title belts, such as the World Heavyweight title, the big gold belt, or the old Undisputed Championship, as those designs were better than the current belts?
Well, I'll say this. The reason the current belts are designed the way they are is not because WWE thinks they're not as good as the previous ones. They think they're improvements. Every time they redesign it, they think they are improving it. And I would say constantly changing the design of a title does sort of diminish the value of said title. Like, you should look at something and see the lineage of it and see the history of it. And when you think back to previous champions, when you imagine them, you should see that same belt on them. I'm not really a fan of the way WWE constantly changes the designs of their belts, even when they do improve them. I want to think of the lineage of this. I want to be able to see people holding this title in my mind's eye. And I love the new Intercontinental Championship. But when I think of great Intercontinental Champions, I now no longer think of that belt. I think of this entire other thing. So no, I would be hesitant to ever change title designs unless you really felt you had to. Unless, I don't know, some videos had come out showing somebody doing something absolutely disgusting with them and you wanted to erase that from everybody's minds in one fell swoop.
The second question comes from J-Tray and A-Tray, who ask, now that Keith Lee is NXT North American Champion, do you think we could see Velveteen Dream come back to challenge him for the title? I think it would be mint.
I think it would be mint too. They have started to slightly tease a few things for Velveteen Dream's return, and while I have said that there is a backlog at the minute of really good talent in the NXT mid-card, all desperate to do something, ideally involving the North American Championship, Velveteen Dream comes back, you have to put him right at the very front of that queue, because, god damn it, is he worth it. The man is solid fried gold. In my opinion.
Fair. I can't disagree with a word of that. Let's see how his injury status is reported going forward. That's the main thing, I guess. But maybe we don't want to hear his injury status reported on anymore. Maybe we just want it to be a nice surprise because those are kind of rare these days. Let's see that.
Yeah, we present the news, so that's how it works.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen, is it, brother?
Coming up today, returning NXT star.
Oh no! This is a surprise gone, and we're gonna wrap things up with the first and finally of the week. Quite surprising. Adam Cleary, yesterday we did a Wednesday Night War podcast. It was a lot of fun.
That was good fun, that. I enjoyed that.
Please relay to me and the viewers at home who may not have heard the podcast your description of the Butcher from AEW.
Right, you were talking about the Butcher from AEW, and you were talking about, he comes down with his big twirly moustache and his monocle and stuff. And so I just reached into the darkness and said, whenever I hear people talking about him, he always sounds like somebody asked Michael Bay to do a gritty origin story of the man on the Pringles can. Now, I will point out, I misremembered. I thought the guy on the Pringles can had a monocle. I mean, I was thinking the Monopoly guy. I don't know. Either way, that seemed to pop a few people because we had a few tweets about it.
It surely did. Eric Vasquez, legend of the channel, is one of them. He has knocked together a little graphic advertising this. A nice little movie poster there. A Michael Bay original, The Origin of the Butcher.
I like that.
Pringle Man just hanging out there. It's good. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much for all your continued support.
The irony of that is all Pringles meat-flavoured crisps. Right? Are they crisps?
Yeah, they're crisps.
All the meat-flavoured versions of Pringles are really bad, so maybe that informs the story quite nicely.
That's true, but the non-meat ones are universally great. So there's a formula there, Pringles. Don't mess with it. Bunch of morons. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up today. Thank you so much for joining us. You can follow us on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Hashtag this is the news. Hashtag good after news. It's been a crazy news day today, so maybe you'll see our pretty face, well, his pretty face and my kiwi fruit. Maybe you'll see us later on. Who knows? Adam, where can they find you on Twitter?
At Adam Cleary, CLERY.
And you can find me on Twitter at Andy H. Murray. The H this weekend stands for hand egg, because guess what? It's the Super Bowl this weekend. It's the San Francisco 69ers and the Kansas City Sausages for the Super Bowl. Who have you got, brother?
The first one. I think they're nice.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Tom Bradley is going to win the egg.
We're going to get some stick. I try every year. Every year I try with the Super Bowl, you know. I go, I must be doing this wrong. I must be missing it. I try and watch a bit of it. I get about an hour in, I'm like, it's not for me.
I love baseball.
It's not for me.
Bye.
Bye.